Good morning, everybody. This is AKA Heather Joy, and you are on the lifeboat. Hey, it's good to be back. Yeah, I didn't feel good for a few days. That wasn't fun. I'll tell you what's going on. Um, I discovered a few months ago that my autoimmune, some autoimmune issues going on, and going on enough that they were damaging my kidneys, and so I've had to start some treatments, and every time I have one, it really wipes out my immune system. And I have the accident I was in as a kid hit my head so hard that it messed up the blood flow to my mouth. And by the time I was 20, I had no roots left in my teeth. I remember I had my braces taken off, and I went for a checkup at the dentist, and they did the x-rays, and they were really confused. Where are your roots? I had no roots left. I didn't know at the time what was going on, but what was, I didn't have the blood flow coming to my mouth. So my teeth weren't getting the nourishment from the blood flow that they needed. And they were just slowly dying. And so in my 30s, everything just started to crumble. So these are not real. I can snap them in, and I have little posts that I can snap them into, and those posts sometimes they get a little infected. Just the mucosal lining in your mouth. I don't know why, but yeah, this time I had both sides, and it went bad so fast. I was unbelievably fast. I was very ill. It was not fun. I had to have some IV antibiotics and things to get things going. So that's where I've been. But man, I feel better, and it is so good. It is so good to be back. Let me see who's here. Lemmy, Harley, Tegan, Trish, full of hope. Good morning, sweetheart. Let's see. Who else? Nobody else yet. That's okay. They will be here, or they'll watch later. Anyway, before I get started, let me run through the rules that we have here on the lifeboat. The first one, please don't discuss politics in the chat and the comment section. It's just gets a little spicy. The second one, this is a religious channel. It's fine to say things like, I'm going to pray for you, or I could not have found my sobriety without my faith. That's fine, but don't tell someone else that your God is better than theirs or anything like that. The third one, please refrain from swearing in the live chat in the comment section. As Tommy always says, if you can't control your mouth, then you can't control your life. And I wholeheartedly agree with that one. And the fourth one, no trolls. No mean people at all. This is what has been created here, this thing we call the lifeboat is so amazing. And we're here to help one another and to support each other. And if you're going to be mean, you're just going to get kicked off. You're going to get banned permanently. There's just no room on this boat for anything like that. So anyway, I would also ask you to please hit that like button. Please share these videos. And if you haven't subscribed, well, come on, subscribe. This is a good thing. Anyway, yeah, please just help us. Let's help the algorithm help us. How's that? And we are creeping up on some bigger numbers. It's really exciting. So yeah. Anyway, let's see. Let me pull out my notes here. Oh my goodness. I wanted to tell you guys first. I was just flipping through Facebook really fast right before I came on to see what was going on with my family. And one of my granddaughters took the scissors to her hair. I'll never forget my youngest daughter when she was, oh my word, she must have been 3. We were getting ready to go on vacation, and I was packing, and I sent her and her sister out, each with some child's scissors. I gave them something to do. I told them to clip the dead heads off of all the flowers, and I thought it would keep them busy while I was packing. I walked down the house and my 3-year-old was like this. You know, I said, "What did you do to your hair?" I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. My poor daughter-in-law. But you know what? As moms and dads, we all go through that. The kids, there's always one, at least one, that finds the scissors and takes it to their hair. It's just cute. I think it's cute. But the really funny thing was, is she found a dress that she had worn when she was 6 months old, and somehow she got into it. How old is she now? 3. I should know this. Anyway, somehow she got into that 6-month-old dress, and her mother had to cut her out of it. She can't figure out how she got into it. I love grandkids. Especially when I don't have to deal with all the stuff that their moms do. Anyway, good morning, Blake and Chili Head. NZ Chili Head. Is that for New Zealand, NZ? Not sure, but I'm glad you are here. And Balake is here. Annette, hey, good morning. Anybody else pop in? Goddess Divine came in. Nice. I'm so glad to see you guys. All right. I wanted to talk about. Oh wait, we've got volume size. Hello. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about reconciliation with people that we might have been estranged from. I know there was a time, I guess it started in my 20s, where I couldn't take all of the crap that had been going on in my house any longer. You know, the house I'd grown up in, and I had left home and was trying to deal with everything that was going on in my head. And I finally had to just cut ties for a while. I didn't talk to anybody in my family. I didn't go to any of the family functions. I didn't accept phone calls. I needed to get away. Hey, Clint Man 81, good morning. Glad you are here. Anyway, I needed time. I was so angry and so upset with my mother and with my siblings, and nobody wanted to talk about the crap that had gone on in the house that I grew up in. Nobody wanted to admit there was a problem, that anything had gone on. And I just had to cut ties for a little while. I mean, there's nobody except for one sibling now that I've been able to reconcile with, and I have really good relationships with all but one. And I think I understand where she's coming from, and I'll just give her room. But I still find that um, if I find that certain certain family members are going to be at certain dinners or certain birthday parties or things, I conveniently very often find an excuse, something else that I need to take care of or that I need to do, just because it's a little uncomfortable. And it's still, sometimes you got to do what you've got to do to protect your mental health. And if that means staying away from certain people, they might not understand it, but it's okay. It's okay to look out for yourself and take care of yourself. But anyway, there's, we can be estranged. Oh, and JT has jumped in, and Jason, good morning. Glad to see you guys. Anyway, addiction, it's hard to not have some ruined relationships with, when we go through addiction. It's kind of part and parcel of the whole thing. There are so many loved ones that we end up letting down, that we end up disappointing, that we promise over and over again that we're going to quit, we're going to get get control of everything, and we fail and we fail and we fail. And it ruins relationships. It makes it really hard for those people that love us to sit around and watch us destroy ourselves and destroy our family. And that's exactly what I did. And the one sibling that I really have not been able to reconcile with, that's why she's so upset with me, is because she watched me just destroy my life, you know? Full of hope says, I don't have to cut people out. They walk away when the money dries up. Ooh, ouch, my dear. That's not fun. Oh boy. I am sorry that that's been your experience. Darn it. But you know what? Once you get control of your life, once you start on that recovery path, after a certain time, you reach a point where you might be able to reconcile with your family. Sometimes it's a really difficult thing because we have hurt so many people, and they've just seen us repeat the same behaviors over and over again, and they don't want to see that. I totally understand. But once you get once you get into sobriety a little bit and you're able to maintain that a little bit, work on the issues that were behind your addiction in the first place. Once you're able to take care of some of those things, very often it's a good idea to let some of these people back in your life, if they're going to be a good support, if they're going to be helpful for you. It's there's something beautiful about family and those relationships, if you can repair them. There's just something about growing up together in the same house and having a lot of the same experiences, that there really is something there. There's a connection, there's a bond that, despite everything that goes into addiction, there's still that bond. It's a deep one if you had it previously, and it's a beautiful thing when you can start to repair those relationships. And it's really fun to watch them watch you and see you start to have success. And I mean, it's amazing. It's a fun thing to watch people see you actually doing what you said you were going to do for the first time in a long time. And that right there really helps them. If they can see the progress that you're making, they can see the work that you're doing and how hard you're working, and how many things you've overcome. It's a beautiful thing. It does help to help reconcile. But I want to talk just a little bit about estrangement, just in general, for a minute. Estrangement is kind of defined as one or more relatives intentionally choosing to end contact because of an ongoing negative relationship. And that's something that happens, that our addiction really pushes people away. Our addiction is a very selfish, narcissistic kind of thing that demands our full attention. Let's see. There's a professor. She's the assistant professor communication studies up at Utah State University. And I was reading some of the work she had done with estrangement, and this is what she had to say a little about it. She said, to the extent you are actively trying to distance yourself and maintain that distance, that makes you estranged. Estrangement is a continual process. In our culture, there's a ton of guilt. There is, guys. There's a ton of guilt around not forgiving your family. So achieving distance is hard, but maintaining distance is even harder. That's what she had to say about that. I mean, I was looking at some of the studies she had done, and she had really gone in depth with 52 people, and she really went into their lives and circumstances. I mean, she did a fabulous study, and then she did a review of a whole bunch of research. I mean, it was really fascinating. I wish that I'd had more time to look at the work she's done, but she talks a lot about dispelling the myths of estrangement. And let me say right here, it can be either way. Sometimes we have to cut people out of our lives for the sake of our mental health, and sometimes we have to do that so that we can get better, so that we can do the things we need to do to find sobriety and to maintain that. Sometimes it's not our family closing us out. Sometimes we have to do that with our family, and there's a tremendous amount of guilt with that, because we you know our families, that's kind of the basic structural unit of society, our families. And there is a great deal of guilt whenever you have to estrange yourself from somebody. Essentially, you're upset, you're angry about something. It's really hard to forgive, and there is an incredible amount of guilt with that. There are She talked about myths about estrangement. And there the, she was talking, first of all, there's a myth that estrangement is just something that happens suddenly. That's not the case at all. If you are estranged from someone, there has been something that has been working, in the background for a long time. There are many reasons why you end up having to, pull away from somebody, to pull away from a relationship. But it's not anything that just happens suddenly out of the blue. This is something that's usually a very long time coming. The next myth that she talked about was that estrangement is rare. And actually, no, it's not. I was looking at an article that was written in, I believe was it the New York Times, but it was all about estrangement and how common it actually is. It's not a rare thing. So please, if you have had to cut people out of your life, or people have cut you out, that's it is something that happens quite often. Please don't feel like you're the only one, or that there's something wrong with you, because that's just not the case. It's a very common thing. Another myth that she talked about is there's always a clear reason why people become estranged. No, there's not, though. It's quite complicated. It's a very multifaceted problem with lots of issues that are going on. Um, some A lot of times it's just a combination of so many negative things, and you can't pinpoint which one. But when you put them all together, it's just too much. Estrangement is often necessary. Anyway, the last one that she talks about is that estrangement happens on a whim. And again, no, it doesn't. I can't remember how she differentiated the one about happens suddenly and then happens on a whim, because to me that was kind of the same thing. But again, it's something that's gone on over time. So if you have members of your family that you are estranged from, it's a common thing, and you're not alone in this. Let's see. Jason says, well, let me back up here. You guys have been talking about your family. Oh dear. I'm sorry, Scooby. Scooby says, I'd literally die for my sister or my nephew, but she would rather have money than a real relationship. And that's so sad, because, money doesn't last. Relationships do if you put the work in. I'm so sorry to hear that. Let's see what else. And full of hope, you're right. You said, I can honestly say I brought no trouble to my family 30 years ago. Yeah, you you are one strong woman. One strong woman. Let's see. I know you guys are there's a lot of you who know a lot about this. And I forgot to mention, the at the top of the chat, I put the link. If anybody has needs help with anything, you guys always come first. It doesn't matter, what I'm talking about. If one of you guys needs help, jump on. That's what it's there for. That's why we're here. So But if there's, if you, while I'm talking about this, if there's any experiences that you have with reconciliation that you'd like to share, please jump on. And let's see. You don't want to hear this topic, Sue, I understand. Not a problem. Yeah, John says it's not that hard when they're all gaslighting jerks. Exactly. Yeah. If you being gaslighted, that's equivalent that in my mind that's equivalent to emotional abuse, and it's a good idea for estrangement in a case like that. Let's see. What else did I miss here? And yeah, it says I have been working on this one, estrangement, for a while. I just decided last week it was the right thing for my own well-being. Now I see as I lose my gain of sanity. Let's see. I know you guys are familiar with this issue. Hey, Coburn and John Doe's has dropped in, and Mark, welcome. It's so good to see all you guys. Let's see. Anyway, there's lots of reasons. Lots of, those reasons are usually pretty darn personal, too. But recovery from a behavioral addiction, that's the first one that I found on a list of reasons why estrangement happens. Also, there's emotional or physical abuse or other types. If I say certain words, that kind of, the algorithm picks up on that, so I won't say it. But that when there is some kind of emotional abuse or other type of abuse, if it's physical abuse, that's a definite reason for, just for your safety and your sanity. Estrangement's a necessary thing. I think in those cases, if you can't, if the situation you're in, you can't do anything about it, it is important to have a barrier between you and the person that is abusing you. Another one on the list, of course, was substance use disorder. Definitely. We all know how real that one is. Another thing that is a good reason for estrangement would be domestic types of, gosh, I don't want to get the algorithm upset, but you guys know the kind of upset and trauma that comes from domestic types of, you know what I'm saying. Any kind of infliction of trauma, that can happen in so many ways. In my case, growing up, that was what I experienced. It was rare that there was anything physical, but there was, the emotional abuse was very real. And to the point where I'm still a messed up little girl inside a 53-year-old body, But yeah, infliction of trauma, that can come in many different ways. Differences in political or social values. That's a big one. And that has become, I've seen a lot of that lately. People, that are estranged from family members and dear friends because of political views. And that one is really sad, I think, when you can't put those things down, for a relationship. That's just sad. But that's just my opinion. But financial disputes, that's always a big one. And just various personal arguments. These are all, valid reasons for estrangement. But if you, like I was saying, if you, once you find sobriety and you're able to maintain it for a little while, and you start working on your issues, and you start to know yourself, and you start to love yourself, and you start to trust yourself, that's when you're in a position where it might be possible, to reconcile with certain people in your life that you have been estranged from. So it's a really good idea, first of all, to reflect on, the motivation for reconnecting. What is the reason behind your desire to want to reconnect? That's something you really need to think about. And you need to remember that, reconciling, reconnecting with somebody, It's best when when there's a genuine desire to heal the relationship and to reconcile, and it's coming from both sides. If that's the case, both people in that relationship want to reconcile, that's a good sign that it is going to work out well for you. But you really do, it has to be coming from both sides. um, let's see, let me pull something up and check here. Where did I put that? Let's see. Okay. Oh, there it is. Here we go. Okay. And we know that addiction, it just hurts families. That's it's really hard not to experience some of that. um, when families are estranged, like I said, it is way more common than you realize. um, and I was talking about things that you need to consider when reconnecting. And let me read through these. I think these are really important. um, okay, and it talks about whether it's you or it's a loved one. Knowing that your loved one is serious about the recovery, that's really key. If you are serious about it. But some of the things that you need to think about, first of all, you need to prioritize your safety. That is so important. If are you going to be physically safe? The person that you've been estranged from, was there some sort of domestic or physical stuff going on? You guys know what I mean. You need to make sure that you're going to be safe, if you're reconnecting with someone who has been like that. But you also need to remember your mental health. You need to be an advocate for yourself. Take care of your mental health. And if the person that you're trying to reconnect with, if they're the one pushing it and you're still not okay, it is fine to tell them that you need to wait for a while. There's no problem with that, but you've got to remember your own personal safety and your mental well-being. I'm going to add the mental well-being in there. That's a very important one. The second thing to consider is, have you ever thought of using a mediator? I know that might sound kind of funny, but it's extremely helpful. When two people have been estranged, and there are hurt feelings on both sides. There's things that need to be worked out if you're going to have that reconnection, and have it, be a really good one. So considering having a mediator there is really important. You have to have a third person there who is not that, doesn't they don't support one person over the other. That's really helpful because they can look at the situation in a way. They can look at the situation without the feelings that are involved, and it's a lot easier for them to see what is truly going on, and they can help you as you're trying to reconnect. I think that's a really important one too. Just consider that. Consider a mediator, a third person, who can help you and can see, through the feelings and see past all of that, and see what's truly going on. I think that's extremely helpful. Another thing that you need to think about if you're looking at reconnecting is you need to be prepared mentally and emotionally, and especially for some kind of rejection. When you're reconnecting, it's kind of a confrontation, that very first meeting. And you need to be emotionally and mentally prepared just in case that it doesn't work. Confrontations like that are very unpredictable, and they are usually very full of emotions. You don't know how the other person's going to react, and you just remember, there's the possibility this is not going to work, and they're still going to be angry. Maybe there's things they still haven't worked out that they need to take care of. So just you need to be ready for that possibility that it might not work out the way that you want to at first. Another thing to consider, you need to have been working through your own issues. You need to be stable. You need to be able to, be taking good care of yourself and making solid, good decisions. It's all of those, you really do need to, the issues, the things that were behind your addiction. Those are things you need to be working on so that the addiction isn't, you don't need that anymore. And so that's something, if you aren't quite ready, if you haven't worked sufficiently through your issues, you might want to wait and work on yourself a little bit more. But it's a very personal thing. You kind of have to gauge where you are. That takes some mindfulness, and we've talked a lot about mindfulness here. Um, let's see. Anyway, you, just working on your own issues. Just consider where you need to heal from the whatever events have occurred in your past that have caused the estrangement. Have you healed sufficiently from those things? Another thing to think about is maybe to ask for help. If you have a support group, which is the lifeboat, that's a really good one. There's a lot of people who have had a lot of experiences, I'm sure of it, with estrangement. And I'm sure that the people in the chat are a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of help. So, that's an easy one for, if you're already coming, every day here and you're getting involved in the chat, you're going, if you have something that you need help with, boy, there's, people, that's why we're here, so please consider asking for help, and it might even be professional help. If you are seeing a therapist or a counselor, they're a good resource for help in reconnecting as well. But there's no shame at all in asking for some help. There really isn't. Another thing to think about is make use of the tools that are available to you. Whether that is, if you're going to reconnect with someone, a lot of times the way that the first part of the connection is going to be online, whether it's social media or a text or something like that. There are a lot of ways to reconnect, but it's a really good idea to, if you want to make this reconnection, to reach out to them usually online. It seems like that's how my family works anymore. Everything's done through my phone. But it's a good idea to have some kind of initial contact and in this reconnection process. So, whatever tools you have, use them if that's possible. Reach out to them that way first. It's also not a good idea to just show up unannounced to the person that you want to reconnect with without saying anything to them beforehand. A lot of times that's not going to go well. It is important that, you I don't know, maybe sending a letter or an email or something, but it really isn't a good idea to just show up. That might not work very well. Now, the next part I would like to talk about is forgiveness. And we have talked about that here on this channel before, about forgiveness. And that's sometimes that's a hard one. It's a hard one to earn forgiveness from the people in our family and our friends that we have hurt. And, a lot of times there's been some kind of trauma that you have experienced, that is behind your addiction. And, that's whomever it was that was responsible for that trauma. It's a really good idea if you can forgive them too. When you can forgive, there's such a weight lifted off of you. The only person that if you're walking around with a grudge, you're really angry about something, I know I am at 53. There's still things I'm struggling to forgive certain family members of, but I am working on it. But it's just incredible. The other person that grudge hurts is you. The other person has no idea that you're still angry, that you're still ruminating over something from the past. They have no idea. If you are able to forgive them, it's a huge weight lifted off. Um, um, I like, I found an article by Dr. Finley, and in this article, there were things that she's talking about forgiveness, what forgiveness is, and what forgiveness is not. And I just want to share these with you. I thought these were pretty good. And forgiveness is forgiving yourself first. That's a huge one. That is a huge one. We have to forgive ourselves of the mistakes we've made and all the things that we have done when we are in active addiction. That's a hard one. I think that's one of the most difficult ones, but it is really important when you can start to love yourself again and you can forgive yourself for the things that you have done. It changes your energy, it changes your thought patterns, it changes everything. You're more positive. And when you're more positive that way, you attract different people that are on a higher wavelength. So that one's a really important one. You'd be surprised how much forgiveness can change everything. Anyway, another thing on her under forgiveness is acknowledging an apology if one has been made. That's an important one. I like that. Acknowledge an apology if it's been made. Another thing on the list here is accepting that the other person has made their own choices. That's an important one too. And just remember the only thing we cannot control other people. We can't control a lot of the circumstances that we are in. I mean, in many cases, but we can control our attitude. We can control how we react to the things that are going on in our lives. And people have their own agency and they can make their own choices. And that's important to remember that. And also, forgiveness is setting boundaries for how you'd like to interact in the future. That's a good idea, too. Setting boundaries, that's an important one. Anyway, she also lists here what forgiveness is not. And she says, forgiveness is not spending all your time around a person who has hurt you. Indeed. That, just because you spend time around someone does not mean that you have been able to forgive them if they have hurt you. Spending time with them might not be the best idea. I mean, it's also personal, but anyway, forgiveness is not obligating yourself to help them heal from their mistakes. That's not your job. You just need to worry about yourself and working on your issues, healing from your own mistakes. You are not responsible for anybody else. And you aren't obligated to help them. Anyway, another thing that forgiveness is not is acting as if the conflict never happened. My family's famous for that one, pretending that it never happened. That one it still drives me crazy. My mother just she went through so much as a kid, and she still to this day has a very difficult time with relationships and with communication. And if I'm ever get in an argument with her, I can never just talk it out. Logic just has no effect on her when she gets in a certain mindset, and I can't ever settle anything or speak my mind, and it's crazy. And I will be really, really angry and I'll leave. And she'll be really, really angry. And then later on, she'll do something but she'll pretend that it never happened. She'll call me and say, "Hey, do you want some of the squash out of the garden?" She'll have a reason to call me, but she just pretends like it never even happened, and that one drives me crazy. How is that helpful? By not acknowledging the things that are going on. Anyway, let's see. I like this one. Forgiveness is not keeping score of one another's faults. Definitely. I really like that. You know, every relationship you are in is very complex, very dynamic, and in different ways. But I liked those ideas um, that were in this article. Things to consider, when you're reconnecting, and that little bit about forgiveness. I think that's really important. I what was her name? Oh boy, I'll have to dig that out. I related the story of a woman, and I can't think of her name right now, but she was a Holocaust survivor, and she was also she and her twin sister were patients of Dr. Mengele. He did a lot of awful experiments on these twins, and it's a miracle that they survived. But the community of Holocaust survivors really got hard on this woman because she forgave them. She got to the point where she realized that carrying around all this hurt and all this regret and all this resentment and all this pain, all the trauma she'd been through, just carrying that all around was such a huge load, and she didn't want to do it anymore. And she was honestly able to forgive Dr. Mengele, to forgive all of the people that were involved, and the community that she's part of, being a Holocaust survivor, did not like that at all. There were so many who were very, very angry with her, and she felt it was nice. I mean, it was cool to hear her speak about it, because she said she felt sorry for them that they couldn't let go, because that she said it was just such a freeing thing when she was honestly able to forgive them and just let all of that go. It was so freeing for her, and when she passes, she'll pass away at peace. A lot of those people that survived the Holocaust, I don't think they ever will find peace. But forgiveness is such an important thing if you can manage it. And I'll tell you, when you're on the other end of things and you receive forgiveness from other people for the things that you did during your active addiction, wow, that's something very incredible. It is awesome when people honestly forgive you. It's a beautiful thing, I think. Let's see. Anyway, let me switch back over here and see what's going on in the chat. I was really hoping there might be one of you that would like to share some of your experiences in this. Allison, she says, same as my mom. I just decided to understand she deals with issues differently than I. Yeah, that's sometimes you have to just do that. You know, and it really does help as far as forgiving. I know I haven't reached the point where I have completely forgiven my mother, but I now that I know the reasons behind her behavior, and I know what she went through and what she suffered, it makes sense to me that she would behave in the way that she does. I really feel sorry for her now. It's I do. Let's see. Oh no, full of hope. I am sorry. As soon as you tear up, she said goodbye. I'm sorry. Let's see. Scooby says you eventually got to learn. Forgiving them doesn't always mean what they did is okay. Exactly. It doesn't mean it's okay. Or what you did is okay. It's understanding you can avoid it happening again. Oh, Scooby, that is beautiful. Yes. Exactly. I'm going to read that again. That's important. I really like what she said. She says, you eventually got to learn forgiving them doesn't always mean what they did is okay, or what you did is okay. It's understanding you can avoid it happening again. I love that. Very smart lady there. Very smart. Let's see. Oh, Coburn, I am so sorry you lost your sister to addiction. Oh boy. Yeah, what is sad is, some people don't make it out of addiction. And I am really, really sorry that that you have suffered the loss of your sister. It's hard to see that. Let's see. What else is here? Colburn again, I am so sorry. Annette says, I love me today. That's why it's so important to be mentally stable with a sound heart. I love that. Good for you. Good for you. I love me today. That is awesome. And full of hope. Everyone you know cares about money. I am sorry, my dear. You got us here. We don't. We don't worry about that. Let's see. And Ian says anyone who is infatuated with money is typically toxic. I agree with you. Self forgiveness. Ian says self forgiveness is important. I'm now engaged to a law professor. You can't imagine doing much better. Good for you, Ian. That's amazing. Good for you. I am happy for you. I hope everything goes really well. That you're engaged. Have you set a date yet? That's fabulous. I love that. Oh wow, full of hope. $20,000 gone? Wow. I am sorry. Who is this, Jace? Oh wait. Oh, it's Tegan. I never thought he would turn his life around. Who is this? Is this? It must be a. Is it a family member or a friend? Come on. What's going on here? Let's see. Annette says, I used to have passion for the one I forgave. I can forgive the sickness. I can't forgive the actions. Some things hurt so deeply that it takes years and years working on forgiving to ever get there. I hope someday I'm completely there. I hope, because I don't like carrying this stuff around. I don't like feeling like this, being angry about things. Ian, he says, my worst was missing family Christmas because I was drunk. Yeah, please don't be too hard on yourself. We have all done, as addicts, we've done things like that. It is part of the disease. It's part of, when you are in it, those things happen. And, it damages relationships with your family, with yourself. But you can overcome that. You just have to remember that those actions, that was the alcohol or the drug that was talking. That was the drug. Drug or the alcohol was the one in control. And it's a disease. Those things happen. I'm not saying that it was right, that it was okay, but those things happen. We have to work through those things, and be able to overcome them, and look past them. It's a process, and it takes time, but it can be done, guys. It seriously can. Let's see. Compassion comes with forgiveness, Coburn says. Compassion comes with forgiveness. I really like that one. And I'll tell you, for all of you that pray one thing that I have found, if someone does something to me that I very, where I'm very upset, very angry, or very offended, uh, I I find that if I pray for that individual, and I pray for good things to happen to them, and I pray for them to have all of the things that I'm praying for myself, it does something. You start to feel a little differently about that person. You start to look at things a little differently. I don't know exactly how it works. I just know that it does. It helps. It's really hard. Like my ex husband, I was so angry, so hurt, felt so betrayed for so long, the things that had gone on. And one day I just thought, got to do something. And that's what I did. Someone had told me, are you praying for him? Are you praying for him by name? And all that. And it really does help. It really does. I don't know why. I just know it does. Let's see here. I'm missing things, I'm sure, here in the chat. Let me move that down here. Let's see. People in chat suffered so much. This is Tegan. People in chat suffered so much, and yet here we are trying to work things out and being part of a healing group. Exactly. You are all amazing. Aw, face red heart shape. Aw. But that's what we are. Why go through all of these difficult things and overcome all this hurt if we can't help other people, overcome the same things? It doesn't make sense to me. If you're gonna go through it, you might as well use it for good in the end. And that's why I'm here. Let's see here. I like what I ooh. Scooby says, I like this one song I was listening to. All I want is a place to call my own and mend the hearts of everyone that feels alone. That's beautiful. That's what we're doing here. We're trying to mend the hearts of everybody that feels alone. I really like that, Scoob. Really like that. Okay, and that's your son. Okay. Wow. I am so sorry. That's hard to watch. Wow. Let's see. My cat says hi, everyone. Awesome. Hello, kitty kitty. He says he came to me and is cuddling. I said, aw, you send his cuddles to us all. Thank you. Cat cuddles are the best, especially when they purr, because that purr, where the frequency that cats purr at is the same frequency that our cells vibrate at when they're healing. So a cat purring is a really good thing. I love to cuddle my little fur ball. Let's see here. Full of hope says to Jason, anger only hurts me. No point in that. Don't you ever be angry. Anger is a hard one for me to deal with. I don't deal with anger very well. A lot of times I press it, I suppress it, repress it, suppress it. Which word do I want? I don't know, but I just tap it all down, the anger, and then it comes out months later as depression. It's not a good thing. I don't know how to. I'm gonna have to do a thing on dealing with anger, just for my own mental health. And Patrick says, full of hope, agreed. Totally anger is no good for me. It can consume me if I'm not careful. Yeah, I know the feeling exactly. It's Anger's a hard one. I think especially for a lot of us, because for so long we didn't even feel our own feelings. We had our drug of choice, whether it was a pill, alcohol, a needle, some sort of behavior, what have you. But for a very long time we have masked our feelings, and once we have to really feel them, especially that anger, when anger comes on, that's such a powerful, strong emotion. And if you see people's auras when they're angry, the colors change and the energy is just it's wow. Anger is a very powerful emotion. It's crazy. That one, yeah, you anger can really do some damage. Scooby says, give it away, give it away, give it away now, give it away, give it away, give it away now, right? What's okay? That song. Once I figure out which song that's from, it's gonna be stuck in my head all day. Give it away, give it away. I can't remember. Anyway, well, you guys, um, I hope that you guys are all doing well. I know that this sobriety thing is not easy at all, but it's doable. It really is, and life can be beautiful. Um, Red Hot Chili Peppers, yes, Charlie. Why did I not? Why did I not? I don't know. Maybe it's just early. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. And John says, fight living in the matrix. Indeed. Indeed. Anyway, as I was saying, I know this whole sobriety thing, it's not easy. It is doable though, guys. Seriously. The things that Tommy shares, the things that Q taught Tommy, they work. And, between Tommy and I, we try to bring things that we hope will help as you guys are working on your own sobriety and working through your own issues. But, I know it's not easy. That's why, luckily, hey, good morning, Rick. That's why we meet together to help one another through these difficult times because on the other end of things, life is really good when you can let go of a lot of feelings and anger and hurt and you can work through things. It's such a freeing thing for you. It really is. And I want all of you guys to have that experience of being able to let go of all of these things that weighed you down for so long. You know, oh, hey Jennifer. Well, you guys can watch it again if you like. But it's good to see you this morning. Glad you are here. But I was just kind of ending things for the day. But it is really good to be back. I miss you guys. I miss the boat's become such a huge chunk of my life now, and it's such a wonderful thing. I tell everybody, that I just moved and different church and different people and even I've been telling everybody about the boat. There is a huge need. There really is. I can't believe that all of the I went to church on Sunday and was talking to a lot of the women there, and I was blown away at how many of these mothers have children that are in active addiction right now. I mean, lots of them. It's it's kind of an epidemic, it seems to me, anymore. But I've been telling everybody about the lifeboat, and it's so fun to see our numbers um, increasing. And I just know we're reaching more people, and I know that the things that Hugh taught Tommy, they work if you work them. And this is a beautiful thing, and I love every minute that I spend aboard this boat. And it's you guys, it's the people. You guys are what make it so awesome. Let's see, and someone else popped in that I didn't. Oh, James. Hey, glad to see you. Anyway, I am going to get going. I got more cherries to take care of today. I can't let free food hanging in the trees just hang there. I gotta take advantage of that. So I better get going. But it's good to see you guys. I hope you have a great morning. And I will see you guys again this afternoon. Tommy will be on. And it's just good to be back. Thank you guys for coming in and for jumping in the chat. And you guys are awesome. Hope you have a great day. If you're struggling, please reach out because you know the opposite of addiction is connection. So important. And you got a good start. You came here. So have a great day. I will talk to you guys again tomorrow.